गिरिवाराधारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवाराधारी यशोदानन्दन भज जनरञ्जन यशोदा नन्दन भज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवाराधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवाराधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदा नन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा रासबिहारी राधा रासबिहारी राधे जय गौरांगी बैंगलोरीश्वर गौरांगी बैंगलोरीश्वर गौरांगी जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शन जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतम His Divine Grace AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada की जय। ISKCON founder Acharya, BBD founder Acharya, savior of the whole universe, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतम His Divine Grace भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शत गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। अयोध्या साकेत गांव की जय। द्वारिका धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। कावेरी माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories and glories and glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतं सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति मयि मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलङ्गायतें गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदन्तारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। हरे कृष्णा। We'll continue our conversation from Granth Srimad Bhagavatam, and the discussion is going to be from fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Fourth canto is titled The Creation of the Fourth Order. We're reading from chapter 19. Chapter 19 is titled King Pruthu's 100 Horse Sacrifice. And the shloka that we're going to take is 26th shloka today. तत् अभिज्ञा भगवान् पृथु पृथु पराक्रमा इंद्राय कुपितो बाणम् अदात्तोदयात् कर्ममुखम्। तत् अभिज्ञाय भगवान् पृथु पृथु पराक्रमा इंद्राय कुपितो बाणम् अदात्तोदयात् कर्ममुखा। तत् अभिज्ञाय भगवान् पृथु 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 पराक्रमा इंद्राय कुपितो बाणम् अदात्तोदयात् करमुखा. Word to word translation. That abhignaya, understanding, Bhagavan, the incarnation of Godhead, Prathu, King Prathu, Pruthu Parakrama, celebrated as power, very powerful. Indraya, upon Indra. Kupita, being very angry. Barnam, an arrow. Adatta, took up. Udyata, having taken up. Karamukha, the bow. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: Maharaj Prithu, who was celebrated as very powerful, immediately took up his arrow and bow and prepared to kill Indra himself, because Indra had introduced such irregular sannyasa orders. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It is the duty of the king not to tolerate the introduction of any irreligious system. Since King Prithu was an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, certainly his duty was to cut down all kinds of religious systems. Following in his footsteps, all the heads of the state should themselves be bona fide representatives of God and should cut down all irreligious systems. Unfortunately, they are cowards who declare a secular state. Such a mentality is the way of compromising religious with irreligious system. But because of this, citizens are generally becoming uninterested in spiritual advancement. Thus, the situation deteriorates to such an extent that human society becomes hellish. Om Tat Sat. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to Canto 4 of Srimad Bhagavatam, titled The Creation of Fourth Order, Chapter 19, King Pruthus 100 Horse Sacrifice, text number 26. अमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Maharaj Prithu, who was celebrated as very powerful, immediately took up his bow and arrows and prepared to kill Indra himself, because Indra had introduced such irregular sannyasa order. Interesting conversation here, and then we also need to look at what does it really mean. Yeah. So, well, this can be titled as how can we tolerate to a large extent. How do we really tolerate? Because human form of life, there are so many things that happen, and anger could be one of them which is happening. And anger, in the right sense used, is actually very good. If it can be dovetailed in the service of the Lord, then there's nothing like it. But anger, which comes with false prestige or false ego, becomes the impediment in our own spiritual life, becomes impediment in our own growth. So, a very simple things that we can understand from this, but they are very, very important for us. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to Varanasi, the disciples of Prakashananda Saraswati, they saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dancing and just singing. They said, this is just emotions. And these emotions don't really work anywhere. They didn't realize that this was a Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they just chastised him. They just said, these are only emotions and they don't really work in any way. Same time, Tapan Mishra, who was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was very angry when people said, these are just emotions. And he got annoyed and he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying that this is not correct. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, it's okay, don't worry, just leave it at it. Use this anger which is there in dovetailing yourselves. Now, if we see Lord Narsimhadev, he is also getting angry. But why is he getting angry? He is getting angry because somebody was trying to trouble his own devotee, his very, very dear devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. And at the same time, we were worshipping the Lord who was angry. We worship the Ugra form of Nrsimhadev. So, anger is not always bad. If it is used in the right purpose, if it is used in the right direction, and if it can be dovetailed, it is the best thing to happen. But anger out of false ego is not good. Right? There's another example that we can take of Hanuman. He burned Lanka. Why did he burn Lanka? Because he wanted to show Ravana that he's all powerful and he's more powerful than Ravana, and he can fly in the air, he can become smallest of the smallest, biggest of the biggest. No, he did this out of compassion to Lord Ramachandra and Mother Sita. Mother Sita was caged there, and he wanted this message to be given to Ravana, saying that, hey, look, you cannot be going on like this. You've done something absolutely wrong. Even now, if you realize that what you've done is wrong, kidnapping Mother Sita, you can still be pardoned, because Lord Ramchandra was very compassionate. He said, even if now Ravana comes and says, I'm sorry, it was my mistake, he would just let it go. He would not do anything. And Hanuman, out of his anger, he burned the whole Lanka to just show his compassion towards Mother Sita and Lord Ramachandra. And also give a message to Ravana saying that you still have some time, you can really become good. Now, there are times that, out of anger, the father scolds his son. Can that be taken as a wrong thing? No. It is because he is doing good for the child or the son. At the same time, we see a guru chastising his disciples. And this is for the benefit of the other person. It is not that the guru wants to just chastise and show his power and show his position. No. Father also is not looking at chastising his son just to show his power, but he wants his son to be corrected, or the guru wants his disciple to be corrected, so that he does not fall apart. He doesn't really go into the wrong direction. Now, because of anger, many times we also see curse. Now, very simple example that we saw, just completed the month of Kartik, and we were always talking about the Damodar Leela. And in Damodar Leela, we see Manigriva and Nalkuvera being liberated. Now, the background of this is that Manigriva and Nalakuvera were wasting. They were sons of great demigods, Kubera. Yeah. And he's the storehouse of all the money that the Lord has. He takes care of. He's a trustee who takes care of all the finances of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His own sons, he's a great demigod, and his own children, Manigriva and Nalkuvera, were kind of wasting their life, just removing their clothes and going around. So Narad Muni sees this, and he curses them. What does he curse them? Saying, yeah, you feel like being without clothes, so you become trees and stand there for years and years without any clothing on yourselves. But then the sons of Kubera, Manigriva and Nalakuvera, realize that this is the greatest mistake that they have done. And they go back to Narad Muni and seek pardon. But what happens once the curse is given, it cannot be retracted. But the great devotee of the Lord, Narad Muni, has compassion towards them. Though he had anger, that anger was to correct Manigriva and Nalakuvera. At the same time, he has compassion. So he tells them, okay, don't worry. You go and take birth, or go and stand in the compounds of Nanda Baba, in the courtyard of Nanda Baba. And there, Krishna will come, and he will try to pass through you with a wooden grinding mortar bound to his belly, or tied to his belly. And when he tries to pull it, both of you will get liberated, and you will also have darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Look at the benefit that they got. Otherwise, they would have never thought of meeting Krishna face to face or having darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then it's such a compassion that Narad Muni had in this curse, that they could see the Bal Gopal roop of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shapa, if we see curse, is not out of anger, it is out of compassion. Yeah. Anger out of false pride is not good. Anger out of higher emotions is actually good, because it converts into compassion, and that compassion is for somebody's spiritual advancement or for the benefit. Anger always is not bad if it is the heartful of compassion. When you get angry, if your heart is full of compassion, then it's actually good. Great sages also we see curse, yeah, but that is out of compassion. But on the other side, Mayavada anger is always bad. For Vaishnavas, anger is actually utilized in the compassionate manner, or it is used in the positive manner. What do the Mayavadas say? Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. This Jagat, the whole material world is Mithya. It's useless, waste. If you give them prashadam, it is waste. If you give them devotee association, it is waste. They say whatever is available in this Jagat, in the material world, is Mithya. But then are they not doing something wrong? Prashadam is to honor, and when you honor, you sanctify yourself. It is sanctified food which is offered to the Lord, which is given by the Lord rather as prashadam. And when we take that, our body nourishes and we get sanctified as well. At the same time, when you associate with devotees, then what happens? You get good qualities of the devotees. You talk about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You talk about the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You look at various leelas that are performed by the Lord. And this is the course of our discussion with devotees. But then Mayavadis say, Jagat is Mithya. Only Brahma is Satya. There's nothing else. So one needs to really look at the service attitude with Seva Bhava. But if you do it with the purpose of enjoyment, it will give you very little benefit. Whatever you're doing, if you look at how can I serve the Supreme Personality of God, how can I serve my Guru, how can I serve the Acharyas, how can I serve the Parampara, how can I serve the Vaishnavas, if that is the attitude, if it is a service attitude, then you get the full benefit of it. But when you think of it as an enjoyment, you get very little benefit. Now, one example of that could be our indulging in overeating, prashadam. Yeah. But what happens when you eat with little seva bhav? When you eat little with seva bhav, it gives you more nourishment. But when you go on overeating, then it's only for your senses saying that, okay, I like the kachori, I like the pakoda, I like the gulab jamun, and I go on eating, first one, second one, third one. We can also look at it. If one eats for enjoyment, it is the law of marginal utility comes in place. The first one looks very nice. The second one is a little lesser than that. Third is lesser than that. But if somebody feeds you 50 rasagullas, then you will not like it. Say, enough. Now for 2 years, I will not eat rasagulla. So overindulging in prashadam. I'm saying indulging in prashadam is good because it purifies our mind, it purifies our heart. But overindulging in prashadam is also not good. Why do we say that? When we take a little prashadam, Krishna is also manifesting as prashadam. It also increases our service attitude. The more service, the more impact of the deities, because they're all connected. Prashadam, service, deities, serving the Vaishnavas. Now, in that sense, if you see, that is the bhava, the seva bhava that he had. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fainted in front of Sri Jagannath Ji in Puri. How many of us have gone to Jagannath Puri and how many of us have fainted in front of Jagannath Ji? None of us, probably. So, while he was doing it with service attitude, what we do is we are doing it with our sense enjoyment. It's a very nice story, I remember. This was, it's a fact that happened and it was narrated as a story by a senior devotee. He said we had gone to Yatra to Mayapur, and at one place we had gone inside to have we were to go inside to have darshan, and there were senior devotees, there were Vaishnavas, there were Srila Prabhupada disciples, there were elderly devotees, and there were children. So when the darshan opened, when the temple opened, everybody rushed inside, and when they rushed inside, they came out. The satisfaction was not there. So there was a very senior Srila Prabhupada disciple. He asked him, saying, this devotee asked Srila Prabhupada disciple, saying, I'm not feeling, satisfaction. So he says, whatever you have done was for your sense enjoyment. You didn't do it with service attitude. Yeah, you thought you should be the first one to go and have the darshan of the deities. And in that attitude of yours, you jumped over the senior devotees, you jumped over the elderly devotees, you jumped over the ladies, you jumped over the children. The service attitude in this case should have been saying that I will allow all the senior devotees to go inside, I will allow all the elderly devotees to go inside, I will allow all the Matajis to have darshan, I will allow all the children to go inside, and then I will go have darshan and then come back. That would be the seva bhava or service attitude. Srila Prabhupada made a very uh, heavy statement. He said, if seva bhava is not there, big temples will become go downs. So for us, it is very important to have service attitude in whatever we do. Whatever kind of seva that we do, whatever service that we do, or whatever we are doing, the service attitude should come in. If seva bhava is not there or service attitude is not there, then even the big temples will become go downs. Seva bhava will actually make our bhakti grow and we can climb up the ladder slowly. The mercy of the Mahaprasad, the mercy of the deities, the mercy of the Vaishnavas, everything will flow unless we have seva bhava. One should have seva bhava so that he gets the mercy of the Supreme Personality of God. Now, in this particular verse, Prithu Maharaj is actually wanting to kill Indra because he is promoting Apasampradaya. And this Apasampradaya breaks the opportunity to grow the devotion. Yeah, that is why he was actually ready to take a sword, or he was ready to take his bow and arrow and kill even Indra. He's a great devotee. Prithu Maharaj knows everything. He's the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what is it said? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there is a requirement, the Lord will appear. Yeah. So, King Indra also, now these are all pastimes. Nobody can question this, saying that how can Indra do Apasampradaya? These are certain things for us to learn, to assimilate, and to ensure that we don't do it. So, Prithu Maharaj here was very clear, saying that if Indra is also spreading Apasampradaya, then I will not spare him. And there's a very nice devotee, Vasudev Datta. Vasudev Datta was with so much of seva bhav that he goes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he says, I can't see this human beings or this living entity suffering. I want them all to go back home, back to Godhead. What do I do? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, they all have their karma. So they'll have to complete their karma and then only they can go back home, back to Godhead. So Vasudev Datta, out of his compassion, out of his seva bhav, tells that no matter, even if I can take or I'm ready to take the karma of all these people, but I'm only concerned that they should all go back home, back to Godhead. That is the kind of seva bhav, that is the kind of compassion that the devotee should have. No matter, I will suffer in the helliest planet. I'll suffer in the heaven. I'll suffer in the hell, but let all the others go back home, back to Godhead, which is the whole thought that the devotees really have. It is said when a guru gets angry, it is always out of compassion. Guru has no ulterior motive or he has any other issues with his disciple. It is only because of his compassion that Guru gets angry. And it is basically to remove our papa karmas. I remember His Holiness Sri Jayaprataਪ Swami Guru Maharaj once got angry with me. The anger was not that kind of an anger. I was serving Guru Maharaj in the night shift, in the sense early morning shift. The devotee who had served in the night shift was leaving and then I was there. So I was overjoyed saying that I'm getting service of Guru Maharaj directly. And this is during the legal cases which were happening in Bangalore. And Guru Maharaj had spent till late night with the advocate. So in the morning, when Guru Maharaj woke up, I thought, no, I'm doing a great thing. I'd carried a copy of Bhagavad Gita. I said, Guru Maharaj, please sign it and give it to me. So Guru Maharaj got angry with me. He said, are you not seeing? I've just got up. I have not even got ready. How can I touch Bhagavad Gita without being purified or without, getting ready? I was taken aback. I said, what a blunder that I did. But then he taught me this so subtly, though it may be a little anger for a little while, but that was to correct me for all my life, saying that we should never touch any of our shastras or any of our holy books without taking bath or without being pure. So this is a very simple lesson. And it is only because of his compassion that he gave me this knowledge. And it actually removed my pride. There are a lot of other stories also. If you see Shishupal, he was going on blaspheming Krishna. And he was going on and on and on. And there were a lot of kings and their praja who were on the kings and their ministers who on the other side were not liking it. They actually take out the sword to kill Shishupal. So Shishupal, instead of stopping to blaspheme Krishna, takes up his sword and says that, okay, I will fight with all the kings. But then Krishna, realizing that this is not going to end anywhere, he pacifies everybody. And then what does he do? He just takes his Sudarshan Chakra and lets it towards Shishupal, and his body, his head is chopped off from his body. Now the learning, there are 2-3 things that we have to learn from him. Whenever there is a blasphemy of a devotee or blasphemy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or blasphemy of the Shastras, there are 3 things that we can do. One is, if that person is amenable, if he is younger to you, if he can listen to you, tell him to stop blasphemy. Yeah. Second thing that we can do is change the topic. The topic of discussion should be immediately changed and you should talk something else. And the third thing, if the first 2 don't work, the third thing is just close your ears and leave that place. But you should not hear the blasphemy. The kings present in the court when Shishupal was blaspheming were not ready. They were actually to fight with him, saying that you can't blaspheme Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they just wanted him to stop from there. Now at different levels, people understand this. There's at Kanishta Adhikari level, then there's Madhyama Adhikari level, and then there is Uttama Adhikari level. With the Lord, our relation should be of awe and reverence. Ishvara tad adineshu. And with devotees, we should have a relationship, loving exchanges. Also, Srila Prabhupada says the art of focusing on Krishna is Krishna consciousness. Very simple statement, you may think that art of focusing on Krishna is called Krishna consciousness. We keep giving our heart to so many things rather than Krishna. You give your heart to social obligation, you give your heart to your office, you give your heart to your family, you give your heart to your friends, you give your heart to your community, you give your heart to the nation. But that's not what we have to. If we can accumulate all this and give it to Krishna, and through Krishna, you can do whatever you want to do. Directly trying to love anything is cheating. If you do it through Krishna, in relationship to Krishna, then everything is good. There's once a very nice statement Srila Prabhupada made. One of his disciples went and told Srila Prabhupada, saying that, Prabhupada, I have been, offering you obeisances whenever I see you. In whatever katha that you're doing, I offer my obeisances. Whenever I see you, wherever I see you, I have obeisances. But I'm not finding any love towards you. So Srila Prabhupada said, very simply, he said, continue to do so. Over a period of time, you'll find love. Many times, some of us think that, I go to the temple so often, but I don't get attached to the details. I don't get attached to the Kirtan. I don't get attached to the Bhagavatam class. But continue doing so. Over a period of time, you will find that you'll get attached to the deities, you'll get attached to Srimad Bhagavatam, you'll get attached to the Kirtan, you'll get attached to everything. You have to just do karte raho. Just continue. Just continue whatever you're doing. So that's another pastime that I would like to narrate. One should become very strict and Krishna consciousness will grow. Whether it is your sadhana, your reading, your practice, your visits, your preaching, unless you become strict, Krishna consciousness will never grow. Srila Prabhupada made this again a heavy statement where he said, every morning and evening, you should hit your mind with chappals and brooms. It doesn't mean practical or physical hitting. We should tell the mind saying that follow, 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 follow what I say. And what I say is Krishna consciousness. Yeah. It is not like that, I sometimes chant, I sometimes read, I sometimes go to the temple, I sometimes go for yatra, I sometimes go for bhakti vriksha. I sometimes go to movies, I sometimes read Srimad Bhagavatam. No, this sometimes doesn't work. One needs to be very, very strict. And then only Krishna consciousness will grow. Continuing our rounds, chanting incessantly, regularly, every day will grow you in Krishna consciousness. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam will grow you in Krishna consciousness. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam will grow you in Krishna consciousness. Association of devotees will grow you in Krishna consciousness. Visiting the temple regularly will grow you in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is an austerity. It is a vrata. Like you have brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is a vrata. Grahastha is a vrata. It also comes, grahastha comes with grahamedi. Likewise, every vrata has to be followed very, very, what do you call, I'm just looking for that word, very diligently. Every vrata has to be followed very diligently. Now you're fasting on an Ekadashi and somebody just walks in and says, hey, take some Tirupati prasad, and you take it and eat. Then you say, oh, Krishna, why did you break my... You're telling this devotee saying that, why did you give me prasad? But then if you're not strong, if you're not very strict, none of the vratas can be. If you keep thinking of eating on a Ekadashi day when it is a day to fast, then you're not strong. You're not strict. We have to become Krishna conscious to become pure devotees and not mixed devotees. We don't want to do this, little bhakti and little bhukti. I remember this very heavy statement made by one of our very senior God brothers. And Prabhuji unfortunately left his body after that. But I still remember he told me, there's nothing called little bhakti and little bhukti. It has to be only bhukti. Sorry, it has to be only bhakti. Bhakti has to be out of devotee's life. If we don't follow this vrata, whether it is brahmacharya vrata, ekadashi vrata, grahasthashram vrata, everything is a vrata. If we don't follow this vrata, we don't progress. And the most important part is not to tolerate the mind which is trying to distract us every time. Now, few more examples of how we can tolerate is Lord Shiva tolerated the insult by Daksha. He didn't want to, so he left the arena and then went out. But Nandishwara did not tolerate it. He said, no, this is not right. It is wrong. He not only said it is wrong, he also cursed the Brahmanas who were there present in that assembly. So one needs to be very tolerant despite any kind of insults. The second example was Shishupala. Krishna tolerated him to the maximum. But when it went against all the, people sitting in the arena there, he just pacified everybody, left his Sudarshan Chakra and that chopped off his head. There's another very nice story of how devotees have to be tolerating. Rantideva, great devotee of the Lord, a king. He could do the fast that nobody can even do today. He fasted for 48 days without anything. Here we can't even fast for 4 hours without anything. We need water. We need something to eat. We need something to munch. We need some prashadam when the time happens. But Rantideva fasted for 48 days. And while he was just about to break the fast, he had got some prashadam. And then, he had kept it separately. Suddenly he sees a brahmana coming there. So naturally, a guest who comes in has to be honored first. So he gives prashadam to brahmana. And then there is a little more which is left. So he just about to break his fast, and then he sees a chandala there, and he offers some prashadam to the chandala. Then there is nothing left for him, so he is just hungry. So he says, "Oh, it's okay, no problem. I have some water. I can break my fast." Just as he was he was about to break his fast by water. He sees a Shudra coming there, and he says, "I've I've not had anything to drink. Can you give me some water?" So he gives away water also. That's the kind of austerity one needs to be really taking. Well, we can't compare ourselves with Rantideva, but one needs to be really compassionate enough and tolerating enough to become a great devotee of the Lord. We also heard about the story of Vasudeva Datta, where he was so compassionate that he wanted to liberate everybody. And whatever karmas were available, whatever karmas were there, he was okay to accept it on behalf of the others who were there. He said, "No problem. If I have to be in the hellish condition, it's okay. Let me take the karmas of all these people who are available here and let them go back home, back to God, and let them be happy, let them be comfortable. But let all the karmas fall on." So one needs to be really tolerate and ensure that his spiritual life is always focused. And on the focus part of it, one needs to be really, really strict. Okay. So I will end the session here just by summarizing whatever we discussed today. We spoke about anger and how it can be dovetailed. We also looked at why a guru or a father scolds his disciples or children. It is only for the benefit of the other person and not that they are, it is for their own purpose. No. And we also saw how the cursing of Manigriva and Nalakuvera was blessing in disguise. In English, it's a very common word that we see, that they could have darshan of Krishna performing his pastime as Bal Gopal. And Shapa or curse is not out of anger when it comes from a Vaishnava, it is out of compassion. And anger out of false pride is not good. So anger out of compassion is good. And anger is always out of higher emotions. And he said anger is not always bad. It is a heart full of compassion. That's why people become angry and they curse. And then we saw that, it should be seen with a service attitude, seva bhav, and not with enjoyment. So overindulging in prashadam eating or overdoing anything or amassing a lot of wealth by saying that I will use it for the service of the Lord. No, overdoing anything is not good. One should do everything, whatever he is doing or she is doing, with seva bhav. And Krishna is also manifesting in his prashadam. So we should increase our service attitude by honoring prashadam, but only honor as much as it is required to keep the body and the soul together. Not just that you rise rasagulla, so you start eating 20, 25 rasagullas and fall sick. And we should actually do with seva bhav. I said we spoke about the story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fainting in front of Jagannath Puri, in Jagannath Puri in front of Lord Jagannath. Likewise, I also narrated a story where we think that we are actually wanting to do seva, but it is not seva, it is actually sense gratification. Gave a story of the devotees who jumped in to have darshan of their lordships, but when they came out, they were not satisfied because they jumped over senior devotees, Vaishnavas, Matajis, and children. And Seva Bhav will keep us growing in our bhakti, and we will have a lot of mercy from the deities. We'll also have mercy of Mahaprasad. We'll also have mercy of Vaishnavas, Shastras. And then we also spoke about Shishupal blaspheming Krishna, and three things that we understood, saying that if there is blasphemy of the Shastras, blasphemy of the devotees, blasphemy of the Vaishnavas, we should do three things. One is make them understand and correct them. Second is change the course of our discussion or the topic. And if both these are not possible, we should just close our ears and walk away from that place. And Srila Prabhupada said, art of focusing on Krishna is Krishna consciousness. It's very simple. That focus your mind on Krishna, that is Krishna consciousness. We keep giving our hearts for so many things, but we should actually give everything to Krishna. And through Krishna, you can do whatever you want to. We also heard that the experience of one of the devotees who said, Prabhupada, I can't find any love despite my offering you obeisances every time I see you. So Srila Prabhupada said, continue, someday it will come. Offer your obeisances to deities, offer your obeisances to the Vaishnavas, offer your obeisances to Srimad Bhagavatam, give your respects to everything. Someday bhakti will come to you. And we also said, become very strict in Krishna consciousness and your bhakti will grow. And if your mind is kind of taking you away from it, hit your mind with chappals and broomsticks every evening to say that I am servant of Krishna, I am supposed to be surrendering unto him. Then we also spoke about the toleration of Lord Shiva. Despite being a great devotee of the Lord, Vaishnava Namyata Shambhu, he tolerated the insult by Daksha. He left the arena there. But Nandishwara did not tolerate. He cursed the Brahmanas and so on and so forth. We also spoke about Ranti Deva's fasting, saying that how the vrata has to be followed. So I will end the session here. If there are any questions or any comments by the devotees, I'll be happy to accept. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we will end the session of Srimad Bhagavatam for this morning. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Hidai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. I'm ending the session.